I probably started that just a tiny bit too late to actually get the music at the start. That's fine. As you can see, I changed the start, or the first screen a little bit. It has, basically it has the game just with my normal background as a transparency over it. I think it, especially since I've been, you know, actually starting these streams up by having, the games going in the background, I think it'll probably work a little bit better. I've also changed the end screen a little bit, but, you know, we'll see that when we get to it. Oh, I want to actually, in this case, hide that, mimic. Ooh. That's not right. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Apparently something I did messed up the scaling here. Hold on a sec. Because this one should be a slightly different resolution than it is. Okay, that is not working. Did the... Huh, interesting. Yeah, it seems to be thinking that it's, I might have be cutting too much of the bottom off. Oh, yeah, I'm cutting too much of the bottom off. There we go. That should be better. Oh, I'm also cutting too much of the bottom off on the other one. Interesting. Or it might be cutting too much of the top off. Fun times. This is what happens when you change emulators. It's a bad idea.
Captain, we're nearly to the barren border. So we are. The trouble's here, too. Orders may be orders, but this goes too far.
Captain! We're the Redwings, the pride of Farron. Must we now be thieves, sent to plunder from the weak?
Enough.
But Lord Captain, the Mysidians offered no resistance, and still we cut them down.
Listen to me. We did no more than what our kingdom's peace and prosperity required us to do.
The Massidians knew too much of the crystal and its secrets. His Majesty deemed it so. We are the Red Wings of Baron. It is not our place to question the orders of our king.
Lord Captain.
Lord Captain! Monsters at the fore!
I might actually have too much of the right side cut off as well. We'll probably be able to see better in the fight scene here. Or not, because it's on different screens. Now, I believe actually using the darkness here means that Cecil is going to be taking more damage than if I just attacked, but it's not a huge deal. And I wanted to show off the darkness.
Everyone all right?
Aye.
With all these monsters as of late.
Disturbing, is it not? I wonder what it bodes.
We've reached the castle, my lord.
Well then, prepare for landing, men.
My lord!
I will say, though, that one thing that is definitely kind of strange about playing this is the voices not sounding awful. I mean, they don't sound great by any means. But, when I played it on my actual DS, it did not sound great. I mean, I never really was a big fan of using headphones with the DS. I'll be real honest, until relatively recently, I was never actually that big on actual headphones. I always just wore in-ear headphones. And it wasn't until I was in college that I had, like in-ear monitor style headphones that were actually worth a shit as far as that goes. And I like this intro section's use of music, so I'm not trying to avoid talking over it unnecessarily. I say as I, obviously bring up unnecessary comments. But yeah, if you're playing this on an actual DS and not using the headphone out, which I assume actually makes it sound pretty decent, this sounds awful. So my experience with most of the DS FF4 music is that it was kind of muddy and sounding crappy the entire time, and all the voices sounded really bad. Listening to it through headphones, it actually sounds pretty decent. Much better than I remember it. And of course, with DS, there's effectively no stereo separation if you're playing it through those little speakers, since they're right next to each other. So I'm not familiar in the slightest with the actual stereo audio in this. Again, I tend to play on speakers that while there should be stereo separation, they are far enough apart to be very nature of... Man, that 3D looks awkward. I think this is one of those things where it looked a lot better on the small screen. This is doing the same thing as that one Legend of Zelda game, where it's just... Actually, it doesn't even look like it's that. It looks like they're just 3D models sitting on a flat plane. It looks really bad. And so this is going a bit into the backstory of Cain and Cecil. Now, Cain is, of course, a callback to the not released in the United States at the time, Final Fantasy II, where one of the characters is named Ricard Highwind. And I believe he was also a Dragoon, but I think Dragoons in that game were different entirely. They weren't jumpy Dragoons, they weren't even spear users, they were just your big tanky units. But I could be misremembering entirely. I've not played 2 or 3 in a long time for thinking about it. Oh, some of the regular soldiers are noticing a change in the king. One of the things that's kind of neat is we get this, and if we actually had other people, we could swap who was in front, or who was our visible character. And we can see the mages of wherever the hell we are. And something interesting is this game does seem to provide a bit more... I'm actually being super dumb here and can't remember the word I was trying to think of. Choice, basically. With, of course, Cecil choosing to be a Dark Knight at the urge's wishing of the king, and Rosa choosing to be a White Mage. Something I do really like about the minimap is that, you know, obviously we can see the various chests. Now, I don't believe we have any way of getting those right now. I could just be misremembering, though. And so even Sid's working his crew to the bone. And I mean, it was pretty obvious that something wrong was going on in the original translation. Oh, I'm dumb. We can't actually activate it, but that's what the switch we would activate to get access to that vault. And there's not really a lot more for us to do. We've kind of seen everything of importance here. By which I meant the main building. Rosa continues the fine tradition I have had for recent games of female characters having really dumb-looking outfits. It's, I can't even say it's a JRPG thing. It's just a video game thing. And the sound delay is not something that's being done by Twitch or anything of the sort. The sound delay is present because I had to bump up the buffer for Desmoom's synchronization. And the reason for that is entirely just without it, I was getting a lot of crackle. And with bumping it up, I was still getting a bit of crackle. I could bump it back down a bit. But this took out almost all of the crackle in the voices. Couldn't get rid of all the crackle in some of the deeper musical parts, though. Which is weird. And that comes from me clicking off of the emulator and then clicking back onto it. It's a Something Awful reference. Maybe. I say maybe because, while I know that part of the group that worked on the translation are goons, are members of the Something Awful forums, goons kind of came into vogue for games at the time, even for among people who were not members of the SA forums. And if you're wondering, you know, why does he bring up his daughter there after talking about Rosa? That is, they are separate characters. And something I do like is the, you know, seeing the Red Wings are getting drunk here. They don't strike me as the, you know, fairly standard Stormtrooper-esque characters that I kind of got the impression of in when I originally played the game on the Super Nintendo. And here we get to meet our first addition. And it's also one of the things I rather like. Okay, so we can try to change Cecil. But there's voice acting, so, you know, obviously. Well, let's just change that to something But let's have it be as confusing as possible. Let's change it to Kane with the traditional spelling of Kane. Which is not an O, but an N. And it doesn't work. And indeed, it's still Cecil. Now, Naming Way is part of a lot of the new content for this game. And we're about to hit our second of the voice-acted scenes. Whereupon I will once again shut up.
Your Majesty, what's become of you? Where is the noble knight, the man who took me in as an orphan and raised me as his own? The strong, just king I once knew. Is a crystal worth all this? Robbing a peaceful people of what's theirs by right. What need could be so great? King's orders or no, there's no forgiving what we've done.
Cecil? Won't you tell me what happened? First you're sent off to Mysidia, and now to hunt some beast again so soon? Did something happen in Mysidia?
No, it's nothing.
Then why won't you look at me?
In Mysidia, we stole a crystal from people who had done no wrong. I've worn this darkened armor for so long now. There's no mote of light left in me. Not even in my heart.
You're a good man, Cecil.
I'm a coward. A coward who cannot even defy orders he knows he ought not follow.
Cecil of the Red Wings is many things, but he is no coward. Not the Cecil who I love. The king is sending you to Mist to slay the Eidolon, isn't he? If anything were to happen to you, I couldn't...
King will be with me. I'll be fine. It's late. You should get some rest.
Be careful.
Thank you, Rosa. But I know what I've become.
I don't know, I think a coward would probably have stopped wearing the purple lipstick.
Shall we then, Cecil?
I'll be counting on you, my friend.
Then you've nothing to fear.
Especially given that it's not even visible with the way his helmet works. That helmet also probably makes it very difficult to breathe. I mean, the spikes on both helmets make both ones kinda dumb, but Kane's is probably the much more functional helmet. I don't know if this auto advances. It does. Excellent. Of course, on the Super Nintendo, when it played this song, it was, you know, a fantastic callback to... Even though we only had one over here prior, it was still a fantastic callback to it. It still worked well. Prelude being a very good theme, just... It tends to work well even with relatively simple instrumentation. And one of the weird things with the DS game is, of course, towns have specific entrances, so we need to go to those specific entrances to actually enter them. It operates very differently from traditional RPGs. It is still a traditional RPG. We are still stealing everything that's not lockdown. I think that last one was gnomish bread. Yeah. There we go. I forget if this game has the... Yeah, for some reason, in this game, Kane's right-handed. In the Super Nintendo game, every character was either right or left-handed, with, I think, only Kane actually being left-handed. It wasn't a big deal, but you could equip weapons in either hand. And of course, equipping the spears in Kane's right hand was less effective than putting them in his left hand. Again, not a big deal, but it was something neat that was lost in the transition to the DS in this case. And this is just talking about some of the various oddities with these games, or with the with what's going on as far as Mysidia and such goes. That cellar is actually a decent spot to hit up. I don't know if the battle speed makes a big difference as far as difficulty goes in this one. I believe in the original, all of the Super Nintendo versions, the battle speed effectively is its own level of difficulty because your own character's actions take time, of course, and spells take time, and while all of that's happening, both yours and the enemy's action bars are filling up. And we can actually see that. One of the few things we have access to. So we could set up Kane to do jump. And we don't have access to additional things, but one of them needs to be items, but we can't move items around, near as I can tell right now. It's not obvious yet, but one of them does not need to be attack. I don't think. Pretty sure we can get away with 4 things that are not the default. And that's not hugely relevant for a long period of time. In fact, first playthrough it basically isn't relevant unless you somehow get to level 70. Yeah, I wonder what this is going to be. I'd forgotten how dumb this was. I think there's a chest in here. Are there... Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a chest in here. I believe those were carryovers from the original version. They were no more visible at the time. And I believe the weapons store is also locked. Yeah. I was thinking there was a chest we could get to via here, but I might be thinking incorrectly. It wouldn't surprise me anyway. Okay, well, we got a couple Phoenix Downs. And I guess the item we got underneath was a tent. And we can run on the world map, which is nice. I'm just going to be using standard attacks, so there's not really much reason to not use auto battle. Oh, yeah. Something that I don't really have the ability to demonstrate is even on the DS version, there was the ability to use the stylus kind of as a joystick. It doesn't work that well, but it does have auto run, which is pretty nice. Most of the rewards aren't anything special, but you do want to complete all of them. Reason being is that the reward for 100% map completion is something. Something good, I just don't remember what it is. And of course, on a map-by-map basis, it tends to be somewhat useful. So, we do need to take out those moths first. And we want to get rid of the blindness. It might be a good idea to run from those for the immediate future. And we got a level. It does not come with a free heal, I don't believe. I can check in the menu. I mean, I'd need to anyway. I do want to show these the dialogue for new things off. And since I am just doing auto battle, I should bump up the fight speed. I don't believe this game has the animation stuff, since animations appear to be stopping the ATB bar. And since I don't have a whole bunch to talk about right now, and I'm pretty sure I didn't bring it up before, one of the reasons that I'm pretty sure it's not something that's especially confirmable, but I'm pretty sure that Cecil is Cecil because of Cecil Fielder. And I say that because Cecil Fielder played in Japan in 1989, which was basically while this game would have been being worked on. Of course, it's unconfirmable because nobody on the dev team has talked about it one way or the other. Like, it'd be one thing if it's, oh, they denied it, or oh, they said yes, but they haven't said one way or the other. Which is odd. But I mean, it's also, we're talking about something from 30 years ago. Cecil Fielder was very popular in his 1 year in Japan, which is one of the reasons why it's a possibility. is, of course, while American players had come over and played in the Nihon Professional Baseball League before and after, he was one of the first ones to do so in his prime. He was 26 at the time. He hadn't yet been a I do want to heal first. A league leader in home runs or RBIs, yet he hadn't yet been a full-time starter in the majors. And I think I have auto battle on, or does it smartly remove it when... Nope. And of course, we want jump, and we probably want darkness. We might not want the darkness. On the other hand, she is weak to it. When Kane gets back down from his jump, we're probably going to want to have him heal Cecil. Huh. That's interesting. I could have sworn that doing a jump at the mist was the trick to that. I guess I just didn't remember. This does make jumping a dangerous proposition, though. Now, both characters do about twice as much damage with the, when they have their special going or up, but, the additional damage that Cecil takes just is not striking me as especially worth it right now. Not when there's always the possibility of the dragon turning to mist. Also, I can't believe I inflated the mist dragon with the wind lady. I was trying to use the fake stylus option. It really doesn't work well. It worked. I seem to recall it working fine with the actual DS, but it's just not very intuitive. And this is, you know, pretty obvious that it's going to happen in the Super Nintendo version because the translation calls it a bomb ring.
This is what we were sent to do?
He wished this village torched.
But why? Why?
Mommy, you can't die. Just because the dragon did.
I've heard of their lot. Men who can conjure eidolons. Summoners.
Then the dragon we slew was her mother's?
You're the ones who killed her dragon?
Forgive us. We'd no idea this would happen to your mother.
His Majesty sent us to eliminate every last one of these people.
No.
Foul work, to be sure. We'll need to kill the girl as well.
King!
It's her or us, Cecil.
She's a child!
You'd betray your king?
Betray him? Any man who'd wish for this is no king of mine.
I thought you might say that.
Then
I owe His Majesty much, but not so much I'd soil the Dragoon's name in his.
you're with me.
Baron's army is the mightiest in the world. Our flight means nothing if we remain alone. We must treat with other nations, share what we've seen. And Rosa, she must share our flight.
And she will. Thank you.
I'm not doing this for you.
Huh?
Quickly, we mustn't linger here. What of the girl?
We take her with us. Come. It's not safe here. Take my hand.
No!
We've no time. Use force if you must.
Stay away!
Wait!
Leave me alone! I hate
And so we get to continue being the bad guy for a while. This one is actually pretty impressive because it's something that they establish here. Magicians, magic users under extraordinary circumstances can call upon much more effective abilities and have those abilities do sometimes pretty ridiculous things. Now, this comes at a physical toll. It's not as obvious in this case because, of course, Rydia is a ridiculously strong magic user. And a child at that, and children, of course, tend to recover fairly quickly. But when we come across the essentially same thing later, I'm trying to remember where the town is, but I don't think there's actually... Oh, there is. We do get into fights here. No, thankfully they are not especially difficult. I was thinking it healed us, though. Might be a better idea to run, or at least to have it be trying to run. Now, obviously, that rule for all intents and purposes, the magic users can do ridiculous things at a physical cost to themselves will be used later in the game, which is why I bring it up now. Now, I don't know offhand the MP cost for summoning. I think that's Gollum. But I believe Rydia does not have sufficient MP to summon what she just used, either. Also, I am super, super dumb here. Because I've still not saved. Now, I've not used the red thing. I don't really tend to use attack items. Basically, for the reason you just saw there, they're not that strong. Oddly, we get to name her Eidolon. I'm not gonna bother changing the name. It doesn't really matter. Now, Rydia. Oh, I forgot to show what the overworld thing was before. Rydia, of course, just has fairly standard equipment. And this game has the same row system as the prior game did. I think we'll actually be getting 3 back row people before we will be getting 3 front row people. But that does stay somewhat useful at various times. And this is the item shop. Well, we have been kind of burning through potions. We now have access to somebody who has white magic. Just the basics, but that's more than sufficient. And I'm popping out here to actually get a save made. And the reason for making a save is it's not incredibly obvious, especially not yet. But I believe most of the difficulty with this game is set up fairly similarly to the original Japanese version. Now, having said that, at the start, Wit kinda just sucks. There's not really much reason to use him without doing the training, and there's... Unless you have, other people who have FF4. There was really never a reason to do any of that, because it's just not very good. I'm gonna get the leather cap just because additional defense for Rydia is useful. For the most part, though, equipment upgrades for our mages tend not to be that important. And once we get to the point where we have access to gear that starts giving actual stats, the stats for the mages tends to be much more important than any of the other effects on said pieces of armor. And so we can view the bestiary? Bestiary? Probably bestiary. And I believe once we have a certain amount of it done, you can see here, there are a bunch of enemies. Now, why is Slay Count listed for bosses, you might wonder? And it's because there's a new game plus function in this version. It only allows you to do, I think it's 3 iterations? And related to that is the whole, we just got our first augment. Now, augments are useful. They're what is necessary to get things showing up in this commands list. Of course, Rydia already has a full set of commands by default, but everybody else does not. Auto potion and naming way is going to show us how it works. Auto potion is interesting because it's one of the augments that is actually useful. The problem is, on a first playthrough, you kinda need to follow essentially a set order in order to get access to all of the good augments you want. And so we're kinda on a not incredibly obvious quest as to what we want to do now. I'll need to heal Rydia after the battle. It is, of course, interesting that she is taking fairly similar damage as Cecil is. And her healing ability is weak enough that it's not even a full heal right now. And I don't 100% remember the maps here. I think actually I want to use... Well, yeah, I'm gonna want to, actually, I think I'm gonna want to run here. As well as from any encounter along the way. A lot of that's just that a, trip to the inn is cheaper than using a Phoenix Down. I think that centipede type enemy in the back is kind of dangerous. That's just what I'm remembering though. So we're going to want to grind out a level or two for Rydia. Not really anything special about that, but just the way that this game kind of works at times. If you run into things that you can't really handle yet, you need to grind a little bit. I don't think we can handle those yet. And I may want to go back closer to town when I'm... No, we were actually pretty close to town there. I'm pretty sure that those things would basically, if not one-shot us, be pretty close. But yeah, Rydia is taking less damage because she is in the back row. And she's still taking a lot of her health per hit. I don't know why they seem to be focusing on Rydia. It's very odd. One thing I do rather like about this formation is how it has the little gnome goblin things. Acting as, you know, protectors for the spiky rat. And that's a level for Rydia. Yeah, her HP gains are going to be kind of crappy for a bit. It is just a static amount of HP. I'm pretty sure we want to get at least 2 levels. Both for the HP side and the MP side. Okay, that's not quite enough to kill. It might be fine if it's just 2, but 3, it's not quite good enough. I think this is the one that got hit by a 28. Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot of battles to make up for hitting up an N, but the fact that we only really have one person that can consistently do damage does make it a bit more difficult. I'll just use it single target. Oh, I should probably show off her list of summons as well. While I'm thinking about it. It's just Chocobo and Wit. And I believe a max power Wit is one of, you know, strongest summons, but... we very obviously do not have that. And I think Rydia is now at the point where she can kind of survive a decent amount of these encounters. And one of the big things is that she's also gaining damage on her spells. But yeah, when I'm talking about the DS version of this game having a slow start, it's really all of the versions of this game have kind of a slow start, and the DS version has an especially slow start. The Super Nintendo version, the translated Super Nintendo version, I guess I should say, the essentially easy type, does have a few advantages when it comes to that. I believe the actual Easy Type or USA, whatever the hell it was, basically combines the things that made the American version easier with still having the abilities, additional abilities that were present in the Japanese version. That might be the easiest version. By association, might be the best version. And we'll get to see if this does enough damage now to make using it multi-target worth it. I'd say pretty likely. Certain enemies, certainly. Okay. So 3 or fewer enemies, the AoE is actually relevant. And we see Tella up there. It actually is not a bad idea to go up and grab him before screwing around too much more. these are weak to thunder, or maybe it's they're strong to thunder. If they're strong to thunder, this is a real bad call on my part. Oh. Oh, I should have healed her. Well. And, we've already seen some of the issues present with these older RPGs and providing somebody who really is not capable yet. Ella is considerably more capable. As you would expect. Now, one of the odd things with the 3D models, and this was present in the essentially cutscene where Rydia used the big summon, is that Rydia always has a smile on her face on the 3D model. Which looks real weird when, you know, if you end up seeing her while she's in battle and she's still got a big ol' smile. Yeah, I think using Cure on everybody is probably the... And I believe, for now anyway, Tella's spells will be a fair bit stronger. Yeah, as would be expected. I mean, Tella's gaining basically nothing from fighting here. Did I actually show this off? I think I did, but... And I believe this is our introduction to the tent points as well. Man, this game really is loving giving me surprise attacks and back attacks and all that bullshit. Now, interestingly, Tella does not have the basic Cure spell. But of course he does have Raise, which will save us potentially money. I was thinking somewhere around here was when we could get the... Jesus. First upgrade to... Cecil's sword. Ah. But yeah, the deadliness of random encounters in this is one of the reasons why I understand a lot of people are not super fond of this version. I believe that way is towards the save point and subsequently the boss battle here. But yeah, the Japanese version of the game does not, or not the Japanese version of the game, the Super Nintendo version of the game released in the States did not have quite so many enemies with abilities on their attacks, and a lot of the enemies had less health and similar deals with a lot of the things that are being incredibly annoying right now. I mean, it's just one of those things where it seems like the original version was set up with the intent of you were going to rush out and grab Tella as quickly as possible. Since I don't know for sure which way is actually the way to the boss, I'm going to drop a save state. Yeah, the comparative difference of the power of Tella versus Rydia right now is pretty large. I'm also thinking it might not be a bad idea to turn off the active part of the active battle. Oh, I actually do already have it. It is by default set to wait. And the options available there are fairly nice. And now when we exit out the top, it'll be 100%. Tella helpfully demonstrates that normally being strong in magic also means you have pretty good magic resist. Oh, and I should actually heal everybody. Now, at this point in time, Tella's MP pool is not that large of a concern. He'll, generally speaking, kill things, and it won't be that big a deal. Obviously, it didn't actually end up working out in this case, but... this dungeon's not really a great indication as to how useful Tella is, because here Tella has enough MP that you're not super concerned. Partially because I know there is a... Did we not get it for that first dungeon? I'm thinking we may not have gotten it. As I was saying, I know that... One, we can run away from everything, and might need to run away from damn near everything. And two, I'm pretty sure there's a heal before we actually... Huh. Maybe I am misremembering. Also, this game is just loving its surprise attacks. I'm gonna have Rydia heal. But, and force a habit there, holding the B button. And that's one of the problems with this system. If you attack or do anything while you're running away, you lose some of your money. And... And of course, Tella has a lot of MP to do a whole bunch of things, and becomes even stronger with his spells as he levels up. But the MP pool that seems, fine now, eventually feels much more limited. Now, of course, we may be too low of a level for this. That is an annoyance, but also a possibility. And by acknowledging it, I fully expect to have very few issues with the actual fight. Now, of course, Rydia being low level and being a child does not have that much intelligence, that much spirit, etc. So her spells are kind of weak. Upgrades are going to go on her because they're going to make a much larger increase in her damage than the same upgrade would on Tella. And I'm not sure what that chest is. We'll want to get it eventually. The problem is, of course, that along with not remembering what it is, it could be almost anything. And that might be the sword I was thinking of. But I think it's just like a potion or an ether or something. And I believe this has mostly just the most annoying enemies from the prior set. I don't actually know what this, I don't remember where all this goes. And them casting Toad on you is an annoyance. For whatever reason, I was thinking that this area was shorter than it apparently is. Yeah. so I keep holding B out of force of habit. And Cecil's doing less damage than he normally would because these are, of course, zombies, and while it didn't mention it, they are strong to dark. I'm thinking this might be the area that has the, stuff I was thinking about. Are you serious? Sure, I'm glad that being in the back row, or you know, somebody being in the front row means dick all. Actually. Given that Tella has hardly been attacked, I'm gonna see if rearranging them helps make that work better. Nope, the enemy just fucking loves hitting Rydia. But yeah, one of the reasons I've been hoping for a new weapon for Warp, I think, is the thing to get to town instantly. Oh, no, it's like a weaker version of teleport. Oh, I can actually show why I was hoping for a new weapon. It's of course twice as strong, and it comes with a fair amount of additional accuracy. That was always a problem with the axes. In the SNES game, of course, you ended up, after a while, quite a few of your stronger weapons available for Kane and Cecil ended up being axes, which had lower accuracy, but you couldn't see the accuracy number. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do a little bit of fighting. I'm going to make sure not to go below the 20 with Ella. And then we're going to use exit. And what I'm doing here is I'm going back to try to finish mapping out the prior floors. Of course. And the frog level up is fantastic. And Cecil does a fair bit more damage with that new sword. And I want to do that because I do want to get a bit more XP. And I mean, I want to get all of the maps actually finished. Oh, do we have... Yeah, we have a good number of tents and such. Huh. Oh, and I wonder... Fella does have his own lines here in Typo. Also, I think in a very odd bit, I seem to recall that while there are still bows and arrows in this version of the game, they do not require you to purchase stacks of arrows the way they did in the Super Nintendo version. Which is... I don't want to really call it an odd change, but it certainly is a change. Okay. So, now that Cecil can kill one of those with one of his attacks, it no longer matters which one he goes after if I'm following it up with a Thunder, everything. And as I mentioned with Rydia's MP and it gradually increasing. Oh, that is annoying. Especially since our Osmos does not do anywhere near that. Rydia's MP total has already begun to approach what Hella's is. Well, that's gonna go poorly. Oh no, it actually can kill everything now. Possible that the slight damage from Rydia's attack was sufficient, although I didn't actually pay any attention to how much damage that did. Okay, so that was just a potion that we'd skipped before. These tiny mages are very, very annoying. Their speed and the fact that they can do, if all four of them target Rydia, Rydia is still dead. Is just incredibly annoying. That's kind of the way it tends to be with enemies that are designed to wear you down, though. Enemies are designed to take a resource, and in this case, that resource is difficult to deal with. Okay, so Rydia does more damage than I was thinking she did. That is actually good to know. Especially in cases like this where she does not have any MP left. Those, element rods are actually pretty good as far as weapons go. Makes sense, they are a lot stronger than the prior weapon was. Something that was in the PlayStation version and has been in quite a few remakes of this game is that for a while there they were doing custom colored tents for everybody depending upon who was in your lead. Obviously everybody's just using a yellow tent here. Closer to the original when it comes to that. And it, well, I mean, to a certain extent, it makes sense. I don't know if this came before or after the After Years, but assuming it came after the after years, I would also want as little association with anything associated with that as possible. And we will probably actually have a decent amount of cash when we finish this. In addition to the amount that we are going to actually have in regular on-hand cash, we should have a fair amount from shit we sell as well. And the other reason I'm holding off on giving better equipment to Tella is he's not actually going to be with us for that long this time. Spoilers, man, whatever. Even the remake is more than a decade old. I really just don't give a shit. Especially not for something that's, you know, spoiling something that's... Well, actually, it's probably still half an hour away. This game is pretty slow. And we have actually gotten to a sufficient level where we seem to be doing okay as far as damage we take. It only took a few more levels than I was at before, but it's nice to be at this point. Now, of course, that is not going to hold true once we hit the zombies again, or the gigantoads, or, you know, any of the enemies that were actually annoying. And we'll see if this provides enough damage to actually take these out. They don't have that much health. Yeah, Rydia is getting up there in terms of damage, which is good. Again, I believe in the Super Nintendo version, Cecil started at a higher level, and Rydia started at a lower level, but actually had the same amount of stats, so she leveled up quicker. Got to the point of survivability, you know, after like a battle. So I don't know how to access the other side of that. It might be the something that's accessible through the other part of this dungeon. This is a multiple part dungeon. Oh. So, something that hasn't been super relevant, but is relevant against the zombies. Rydia can't use fire. Also, Rydia now has more max MP than Tella. And yeah, I should probably have used the tent first. I'm not that concerned. And something in there apparently drops tents, so I didn't even need to... I'm actually at a net positive despite using 2 of them. Now, one thing that does, I believe, make the next area a little bit less annoying is... I seem to recall that there aren't tiny mages anymore. Nothing here does cheap shots. That's not entirely true. Pretty sure there's still enemies that do cheap shots, but... Oh, these are weak to Blizzard. That makes sense. And they're also just a little bit too strong to be killed by Cecil. And I think this is when we first start seeing this, this game's equivalent to the... Oh yeah, slime. These guys. These are... I think they're all weak against the color relevant to their element. Or the element relevant to their color. The red's weak against fire, blue's weak against ice, so on and so forth. I could be misremembering, but I think that's how it works. Also, one of the things that I really like, it's not as obvious here that they're playing on your expectations. But, at this point, you know, especially RPGs, for a long time had been sitting there with a damage cap of, an HP cap of 999. And this game is playing with your expectations of that. Oh, I guess down had additional things. I was thinking down was the way forward. Nope, down is additional gear for Cecil. The gloves aren't a huge improvement. Oh, wasn't thinking both were going to be improvements for his stuff. And the helmet is actually doubling his magic defense, so should make him a little bit better at surviving magic. Probably actually puts him better at surviving it than Rydia is. And of course these are an annoyance because of the fact that Rydia can't do huge amounts of damage to him. I'm pretty sure they have a fair amount of life. Okay. I don't think we really need that. I think a couple casts of cure is more than sufficient. I don't think the multiplier for Cura is sufficiently higher to make it so we wouldn't have needed an additional cast. So I suspect we are going to... Damn it. Be getting, finishing off the Dark Knight armor here. I was not expecting it to be the second chest we opened, first chest we saw. It's better, it has a larger improvement than the other two pieces put together. Now, Rydia could probably do a fair amount of damage by, and I just thought of this, using heal spell. Cure or Cura. Also, I think... Yeah, Cure is less than... is a third the price of Cura. Like if it was 5 and 9... it might make sense to, on occasion, use Cura when Cura would work. But as is, it just doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense. Okay. And I believe those are actually possible to make really good use of here. Because I'm certain, being a water monster, that it is weak to thunder. Also, if I'd been smart, I'd have dropped a quick save. I think it's also weak against darkness. So we could use the darkness ability. Oh, wow. To further bump up that damage. As I mentioned before, I'm not a huge fan of using darkness in difficult battles, but Cecil's not taking much damage from anything right now. And it's not just a damage increase it is after the first attack. Just straight up a DPS increase. And we're going to want to have Rydia heal. I think just drop a Cura on everyone. Especially since she's not the big damage dealer. I think this is telling us that the Octomammoth gets... Mammon? Oh, well, I was gonna say gets new attacks, but I guess it's just gets stronger attacks. Oh, that... I was expecting that to heal more than that. But it doesn't really matter. The Octomammoth was not especially difficult. Although it did give us a couple levels. Which, I mean, normally I'd take as an indication that we might have been a little bit overleveled, or underleveled. That fight was easy enough that I think we were probably overleveled. And with her additional spirit, Rydia appears to have enough, oh no, the Red Wings. Enough magic that, or enough spirit, that her Cura and if we had anything important on Tella, now would be the time to remove it. I've not equipped things we have gotten in battle. Oh, actually, we probably want to remove the Gaia gear anyway, because I'm pretty sure that's better than what we have on, yeah. That will make Rydia a fair bit more survivable for now. Oh, and since I have been trying to show these, also, it's probably obvious, but it's probably that Bagan guy. The one who was present when the king stripped Cecil of command. Oh, before I do anything. I just want to have a hard save. Wasn't that long ago that we saved, but better safe than sorry. Wait a second. There's a bit on the right of the castle. And I seem to recall if we do it now, there's not enemies present. And if we wait, there are enemies present. Or it's just difficult to do. I don't fully remember. Regardless, it's a terrible, terrible setup for a prison. I think all of these are, well, obviously not the bow, but I think everything else is an improvement for... Oh, no. Huh. I'm not sure what the purpose of those ruby rings are then, unless they are, unless... like Cecil or Kane can't use better for a bit. But yeah, there are... keep thinking there are some additional hidden passages in here. It's definitely a area where there is loot to be had. But I don't recall quite how much. And that, I believe, is, of course, Anna. I know there's more loot. It might be in that dungeon area. Oh, you know something? Because I'm not certain if we have access to it once Edward joins our party. Once Tella leaves, etc. I would, you know, ignore the plot for a little bit further and dick around. Looting is 100% more important than actually doing this stuff. Oh. There might be a hidden passage on the left there. It might be that I was missing something on the right here. I don't know. This is the problem with when you know there is a... Oh. I thought I went to that corner before. I could have sworn I went down to... I'm gonna double check something once we finish here. Hey. Oh. Oh, they're just straight up invisible chests. Oh, fun times. No. Okay, that's weird. Because I could have sworn I went into the corner and I was thinking maybe it's just there's like a barrier at the top side, but apparently not. And obviously the Holy Arrows are a little bit better for basically across the board than the Iron Arrows. Something that is strange in this version of the game, and there is accommodations to for the oddity. Paladin Cecil, which, I mean, that is sort of a spoiler, but if I let the replaying cutscene play, isn't a spoiler. Paladin Cecil cannot use bows. And so Tella is fighting against Edward. And of course, as is mandated, uses his standard use Spoony Bard line. I do kinda like this mental image of Tella is just so pissed he forgot about his magic and he wants to beat the shit out of this bard with his bare fists.
Oh, Anna! There's life left in you yet.
Father. Edward, he is the Prince of Dampian. He disguised himself as a bard to avoid attention. Forgive me, Father, for running off with him. Edward, I'm in love with him, Father. But I could not stay without my father's blessing. I was about to return when...
The Red Wings laid siege to us, led by a man named Golbez.
Golbez?
Yes, a figure clad in armor of deepest night, his strength beyond that of mortal man.
And the Red Wings' purpose?
Our crystal. And then they rained fire upon us. I lost my mother and father. Then Anna tried to shield me from their arrows.
You love this man that much?
Father, please, forgive me. I was so selfish. Edward, I love you.
Anna! Anna!
This Golbez, tell me more of him.
I've heard he came to Baron only recently. It seems he's using the Red Wings to steal crystals.
Tears do not bring back the dead, boy.
Anna's death must be avenged. I'll find this Golbez.
Tella, not alone.
She was not your daughter. Her killer will die by my hand.
The game doesn't use...
Coward. You're a man, aren't you? A grown man. Stop crying. I have.
Rydia, you're right. I'm nothing but a coward, just as you say. That's why I'm just going to stay at Anna's side. It doesn't matter anymore. Nothing does.
You're not the only one who's grieving. Anna would not wish to see you fawning like a fool. Please, I've desperate need of your help right now.
But how could I help you?
My name is Cecil. A friend of mine has taken ill with desert fever in Kaipo and needs a sand pearl if she is to live. And for that, I've need of your aid.
You need my aid?
I do. Rosa's life depends on it. I beg you.
This woman you speak of, she means a great deal to you, doesn't she? As Anna did. As Anna did to me. In a cave far to the east dwells a monstrous creature known as an antlion. The pearls you seek form from the fluid the beast secretes as it lays its eggs in the sand. There is no overland route to its den. We must cross the northern shoals to get there. A hovercraft is docked here. We think we can reach the creature's cave. It can bear us across the surf to Kaipo as well. Come. We must hurry.
So, 3 things. The game doesn't make super heavy use of shadows with portraits, but did, I don't know, 4 times, 5 times in that to help show expressions. I feel like Edward's line of as Anna did to me would have worked better if he had gone with does as the first line, first part of it. Starting over entirely makes it feel less natural. Especially since it's just restating the line. Oh, and the other thing. If in the scenes where it was showing Anna, you could focus on something other than the line interface, you've not seen this before. I think Edward can actually use the bows. Oh no. It's not until we get Rydia that we can actually use the bows. Now, Edward is interesting. The hide and salve are not that useful. I think by doing that I can actually move things around. Because Bard Song is fantastic. Bard Song has some very good songs, he just isn't a high enough level to have them yet. He's also one of the fairly normal uses of augments. Anybody who's a temporary party member is a... Okay, I guess we can't change who's in front at this point. As I was saying, anybody who's a temporary party member, if you use... Well, when they leave, they'll always give you a augment. And when they If you use an augment on them, you'll get an additional augment, and if you use 2 augments on them, you'll get 2 additional augments. There is an exception to that, and it is the twins. If you use 1 on each, you'll get 2 additional, but if you use 3 total with 1 on each... Actually, I think we're everybody's at full health. If you use 3 total with 1 on each, you will get 2 additional augments. And that's one of the reasons why I am keeping these augments around. Because while Edward is a perfectly valid choice, giving them to him just gives you additional copies of... not additional copies, gives you copies of, I think it's hide and salve. And the problem with that for long term... Hey, I think that's on trial. Is... the only people who care about hide, are the people who can actually do stuff while hiding. That is only Edge and Rosa. We've met Rosa, so... she is a white mage, but she is also the archer of the party. I believe the actual ability that can be used while she hides is aim. I don't know if she can use regular attacks while she's hiding. Also, I was pretty sure that, just like normal, this version of Edward had a critical auto-hide, but I guess I was remembering incorrectly. And just like Rydia before, Edward needs a few levels before he's, capable of surviving more than a hit or 2. And of course, based off that statement, you would be, it'd be very easy to sit there and go, oh, well, this is going to be a nice, easy task. Because that's what the game seems to be implying. I mean, yeah, sure, some of these fights are a bit challenging. But this isn't supposed to be a difficult task. The antlions are not aggressive. I really wish enemies gave more XP in this. But regardless, nothing in Cecil's quest is, allowed to be that easy. Especially not in the DS version. Also, if I had thought about it, I think that the Adamantoise is actually weak to ice. I think almost everything in here is either weak or at the very least not strong against ice. I really wish there was, like a healing bard song. I think there is a healing bard song, but I think it's, you need to be pretty high level to get it. To the point where Edward will probably not be in our level, in our party, by that point in time. Oh. Or I could be wrong and it could be the... fairly early one. Oh, that's nice. And if I really want to attack, I can just use the auto battle real quick. Oh. So I think these are weak to thunder. I could be, obviously I could be mistaken, but... So yeah, the color represents their weakness, which is good to know. Okay. I was thinking this was not progression, and it's just for an item. A harp improvement for Edward. Make him better at attacking, which isn't that big of a deal. Since we ran from the sandworm last time we saw it, I want to give it a shot. Even with that, I'd underestimated it. So yeah, it probably would have just one-shot the entire party when we ran into it before. It's always tough to tell which way is going to be progression in these. The Life's Anthem isn't great, but I believe that it ticks reasonably frequently, basically until he gets hit. Also, I don't think that's progression either. I am mistaken, but we can finish that map off real quick. Actually, I don't know if that's progression, thinking about it. I can go through because the oh, well, that's convenient. What I was going to say is the actual boss battles this early on are made pretty obvious as you're getting to them. Yeah, I think I am going to use a tent, mainly because of the fact that we needed to use Raise. Raise is a very expensive spell. Once we get a bit later into the game, it's not going to be as large of a concern, but we'll still be fighting save point to save point for, I don't know, probably most of the game. That's just the way FF4 works. Also, it might be somewhat odd that characters that did not have MP are getting MP in this one. Most of that actually just comes down to the fact that with the augments, everybody can get access to some type of thing that needs MP. And I believe part of it's also probably being done as a reference to Faye, since everybody had access to at least some level of magic in Tay. They suck though. I'm not actually sure if down or whatever's over here is the correct path. I know I'm going for 100% map though, so. And this should be good to heal everybody. Maybe not Cecil. It's good enough healing. I mean, it's free if nothing else. Okay, I think the only part that we actually... Is that a second Shadow Blade? Okay. I guess that's for if you missed it, which would actually make getting here very difficult. Sorry about that. I had a cough a couple times. And even though it is sometimes difficult, I do try to avoid coughing without getting my mic muted. And so, of course, there we got into an encounter as soon as I was muting my mic. I think just a cure on each of Cecil and Edward covers it. Not actually sure what these enemies are weak to. Aside from wanting to attack Edward really fucking badly. Like, you know, seemingly half the goddamn things we fought. I think they just have a thing where they attack whoever's weakest. I'm gonna get everybody back up with items. Phoenix Downs and potions are annoying to have to purchase, but it is what it is. Now, the antlion has a curious property. And actually, I should have probably slowed the thing down. Now, because actual attack opportunities are going to be somewhat limited, owing to the antlion's property, which it just talks about there. And I believe those are party-wide attacks. Actually, that's fine. With the regen from Life's Anthem, this isn't... Oops. That's actually still not that bad. I mean, obviously we wouldn't want to go through it again, but... That's not too bad as far as counterattacks go. Life's Anthem is obviously very strong though. Especially in these boss fights. And I'm not going to say anything bad about if you have trouble keeping track of which one is which. It can be pretty annoying. It can also be rough if she goes after Edward too much. just because he can't take a hit, and anytime he is hit, it interrupts the song. Which makes sense. And I gotta say, that also makes sense that Edward would be annoyed that the antlion attacked. I think we managed to get everything here. Additional experience is always kind of useful. And it's not like we really have something to... Well, that's not true. We have Warp. Oh, and now Rydia has Toad. Oh, god damn it. We have an emergency exit. So, now we head back to Kaipo. And we are going to save once we get there. Because that is going to be it for me. Oops. Need to get out of the, thing first. I believe in the Super Nintendo version you couldn't save while you were standing on top of it. I might be mistaken, though. Anyway, like I said, that is going to be it for me. I did also change this one. I also changed the holding screen, but I never, the AFK screen I have, but I never go to that one. I also removed the mic from that one, so obviously I can't use that one for goodbye one, but thanks for watching. I will obviously be back with more of this Thursday, and I'll be back with more Chrysalis. Well, not more Chrysalis, I'll be back and starting Chrysalis tomorrow. Aside from 999, everything is new this week.